Well, the al-Nusra Front are, in the eyes of many rebels, the most effective part of that rebel military machine behind so many of the significant victories we've been reporting in the past few weeks. In fact, only in the last 24 hours, responsible for taking over part of a significant regime military base not far from the main city of Aleppo. What's interesting is exactly how the United States has chosen to designate them as a terrorist organisation. They've not made a separate listing for them as a new terrorist entity. They've in fact said that the al-Nusra Front is simply another name for Al-Qaeda in Iraq. You'll recall that particular virulent part of the Iraqi insurgency that took so many American soldiers' lives 4 to 5 years ago. Of course, in the eyes of many Syrians too, these are Islamist radicals, and they have been accused of extremist tactics, suicide bombings, many of which have been said to catch many civilians in their blast. But the way in which the US has designated them shows also how closely linked they think they are to the Iraqi insurgency. The same people perhaps killing Americans now fighting against President Bashar al-Assad. Now this will, of course, in the eyes of many Syrians, deeply confuse them as to where America stands in principle in their fight. They are on one hand saying they want to see President Bashar al-Assad fall, but on the other saying that that most effective part of the insurgency should be blacklisted as terrorists. Now al-Nusra are only about 10% of the rebellion according to much US interpretation, but they are a vital part in the eyes of many Syrians because of that effectiveness. This creates another problem in the future too, in the post-Assad era, when the US is now trying to influence the government that will be in Syria after many inevitably believe President Bashar al-Assad falls, but also have influence over those many armed groups that now form part of the rebellion. They are basically saying that the most influential and effective of those, the al-Nusras, are people they cannot deal with, who they won't be able to sponsor or support in any way at all, and that will of course make the US's ability to influence that world that comes after President Bashar al-Assad so much more complicated, and perhaps engender greater resentment from the Syrians because of US ambiguity over assisting them in their revolt. Nick Payton-Walsh, CNN, Beirut.